Chairshot Reality on WrestleZone.com. You can also check it out on our YouTube page. You can also subscribe to the CSR Wrestling channel on iTunes. What a week in professional wrestling. And the headlines keep on coming, and the top headline turned out to be a suspension coming off of Monday night. Titus O'Neil getting suspended for what took place, an incident with Vince, if we want to call it, when the WWE Network stream was finishing up. And let's just go into this right now. There have been a lot of moments where I can defend WWE or look at things from multiple angles and try to understand where they're coming from. And this, guys, is not one of those moments. I think this is outrageous. I don't understand this. 60 days, which is what it ended up being, the suspension, that's the equivalent of what they give people that violate their second wellness policy violation. You have Titus O'Neil, he has a clean record. The guy's never been late for TV. He doesn't violate the dress code. He's obviously stand-up Mr. Charity. Does more charity than anybody else consistently in WWE. And was it the wrong move to try to have a jovial moment with his boss, given the time and situation? Yeah, but that doesn't equate to 60 days. That's something you address behind closed doors and deal with it there. You don't make a big thing about it. I mean, and then to add insult to injury, I have it on from sources that he also got fined a significant amount of money. I don't get it. And ultimately, I'll say this: if anybody's going to win out of this, it's going to be Titus O'Neil. Yeah, WWE doesn't have him on TV for however long, if they in fact follow through with the 60 days. They don't have him on TV. But Titus O'Neil, 2 hours before the incident, got rolled up and lost his, had a TV winning streak, and that streak ended getting rolled up by Adam Rose. And 12 hours later, and still carrying on now, he's been trending on social media, and he's the #1 babyface for the company because people are rallying behind how ridiculous this is. So
it is ridiculous, Justin, and we know the friendship that you've been able to develop with some specific superstars, and it's not a secret to anybody who listens and knows you and knows us. I completely agree. Looking at Titus O'Neil, like you said, he has a clean bill of record. He's done nothing but good things for the company. He grabs an arm of Vince McMahon in a joking manner. And I know, like you said, it's not a joking manner at that point. But in a way, it was not a somber moment. You had 15,000 people chanting yes to Daniel Bryan. You had Daniel Bryan celebrating.
It wasn't during his speech.
Exactly. And it was off air, and yes, it was on the network, whatever. I don't know the thought process with this for WWE, because this isn't the good publicity. Everybody always talks about any publicity is good publicity. This isn't good publicity. This is terrible. It makes WWE look immature and amateurish, and it goes all the way back to everybody thinking that Vince McMahon has this ego. The ego shine through here. And I'm still trying to piece together what happened, why it happened, and why the outcome.
And Brian, because Brian, as you said last week, as for those who didn't know, you work in public relations.
Well, here's the thing. You have to, and there's rumors that there's been unrest and a lot of joking and not taking the backstage area seriously. So if someone had to be the fall guy and be made an example of, there's no one better than Titus O'Neil. And Titus O'Neil and Vince McMahon, from what I'm made aware of, are pretty close. So while this may be a jump reaction by Vince McMahon and WWE to suspend Titus O'Neil is probably going to come out, like you said, ahead here, but he's also smart. Take your medicine, move on. And for those out there who think this has anything to do with race, you are the ones that are causing problems because you're looking to stir up the problems. Look at what just went through with the WWE with Hulk Hogan 6 months ago. The WWE is pushing teams like the New Day and Mark Henry. They're not, this has nothing to do with color. So please stop that. And if you have any ignorant points about that, just stop watching the product, stop using social media. But at the end of the day, I think maybe not 60 days, a suspension had to be justified because, quite frankly, if you went and grabbed your boss or you grabbed your boss, you can't grab the boss.
Here would be my opposition to that. Is if they want to make an example internally and let everybody know, hey, if there is unrest on the backstage or whatever the case may be, they would be more effective to pull Titus into a room and say, look, we're going to keep you off TV for a week, and let that send a message. And if that happens, if he's not on TV for a week, it doesn't become a big deal. But the moment that they made an official suspension and then everybody becomes aware of it, and you're right, this is not. I'm not going to. The race thing is. I'm not going to go into the race thing here, but I will say there is certain hypocrisy, and not because of color of skin, but there is certain hypocrisy, maybe of placement on the card. Not to throw him under the bus, I have nothing against him. We all remember Jack Swagger. A couple years ago, Jack Swagger, who came out of nowhere, ended up winning the Elimination Chamber so he could go on to WrestleMania to fight for the world title. And you know what Jack Swagger did after he won that Elimination Chamber? He got pulled over for marijuana and DUI. And he still went on and fought for the world title. We can look at Chris Jericho. A similar situation in the sense of when Chris Jericho, I believe they were in Brazil, when he stepped on the flag, a similar situation from Malice. Titus O'Neil had no malicious intent to be disrespectful, just as I know Chris Jericho, he was just doing a character thing. He was not actually trying to say, me, Chris Irvine, I hate this country. It was trying to just be in character. They had people ready to kill Jericho when he got out of that building, literally. And how much came out of that?
Yeah.
So I just there's a lot of issues with this, but race. I'm not going to go to say race.
And as you always say, take something that happens like this, turn it into a storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
Make this a storyline. The next time Vince McMahon is on television, you bet your ass you're going to hear Titus O'Neil chants if it's during the suspension. Take this and turn it into a positive for everybody and make it a storyline in some capacity.
And that's what WWE knows that they can do. Whether they wanted to send a statement like you guys thought, whether there needed to be a suspension or not, WWE can be creative here, guys. So to lighten this mood up, they could have a really developed and really interesting storyline when Titus comes back. No, I don't want it to be about race, but I want it to be about him disputing the authorities' decision to fire or to suspend him and really go from there, because as we've seen over the years, WWE loves one thing: an authority figure, whether it's a general manager, whether it's Vince, whether it's Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long, whoever. You got to have some dissension. You got to have somebody fighting the authority. That's a storyline that's never going to go away. When he comes back in 60 days, 30 days, whenever he comes back, that's a perfect opportunity to really push Titus O'Neil and say, you know what? You made the mistake. Let's see if we can capitalize off of your mistake and make a positive out of it.
Well, and you mentioned that, Josh, and I go into great detail Friday with my Pittsburgh Tribune Review column. I go into detail about the fact that WWE's wrong, in my opinion, and the only way they can right this is by trying to capitalize in doing that. As you mentioned, they have authority figures. So I outline that point and some more points about this, which you can read triplive.com/sports on Friday. It's going to wrap it up for the Titus O'Neil conversation. Of course, you can hit all of us on Twitter if you'd like to comment on it. @CS Reality is the official show account. @Josh Heisenberg4, @Brian Goulish, @Justin LeBar. We're still going to talk about Daniel Bryan, and that's unfortunate that's gotten lost in the headlines in some ways. We'll talk about Daniel Bryan. Plus, we'll wrap it up and talk about the world title. We have a world title match coming.
We do.
Chair Shot Reality.